to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Building trust for generations.
Celebrating 55 years.
The time by Sagicor is
7 o'clock. CVM News at 7, headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, beware of ATM malware attacks, warns financial technology expert. Jamaica Teachers Association reacts to government's plan to repeat underperforming students. Tobacco company cautions display ban could fuel illicit trade. Calls mount for government to introduce e-voting system. While in sports, retired T20 superstar Russell calls for more understanding from fans.
Headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Remix the summer with Digicel. 100 lucky winners win $100,000 each, plus surprises all summer. To enter, buy a SIM 7-day plan or higher. Switch to Digicel. Be an active postpaid or Digicel Plus customer, or receive US $15 or more from abroad. Gift a friend a plan. They could win $25,000. Remix the summer with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promo ends September 15, 2025. Conditions apply. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for more info. Digicel, better connected this summer.
Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Thursday, July 24, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. ATM malware attacks are on the rise across the Caribbean, and Jamaica's local financial institutions are being warned to brace for potentially damaging breaches. Our reporter Akeem Orrett has more in this report.
The alarming trend has prompted a strong call to action from one of the region's top fintech leaders, Managing Director of MC Systems, Dwight Russell. He says financial systems are under increasing threat from cyber criminals targeting automated teller machines, ATM.
There's been, over the last 6 months, a 46% increase in malware attack on ATMs. Luckily for us, that's not the case yet, but we are aware of that.
Russell stated these malware attacks can be triggered through physical access to the machines or, more discreetly, through cyber breaches, putting both customers and banks at serious risk.
What the guys are doing is, since you make your network so secure, etc., we're going to find some way to get to where you have your processing and memory, and just do an attack on that and take control. Bypass all of these security configuration.
MC Systems, the company behind nearly half of Jamaica's ATMs, is now ramping up security efforts. That includes upgrading systems, enhancing monitoring tools, and investing in real-time threat detection.
What we're doing as MC Systems with our products and services is that, one, we ensure that just like all of our engineers are certified, we're up to date in terms of some of these attacks. We're also using AI to help us to kind of understand how we use our software.
With ATM malware threats spreading quickly, MC Systems are calling for region-wide vigilance. For many institutions, it may not be a question of if they are targeted, but when. Akeem Orrett reporting for CVM News.
In this CVM News follow-up, there are mixed reactions to the Education Ministry's announcement students at the primary level will be held back if they're underperforming. At least one stakeholder in the sector is cautioning there are considerations to be made. Amoy Harriet has been tracking that story.
Hit the mark or hit rewind. The Education Ministry announced Wednesday that underperforming students at the grades 1 to 3 levels will no longer automatically advance to higher grades, but will instead repeat grades. The retention decision has sparked mixed reactions in the public domain. One social media user wrote, "This is not good. Are they going to address the issues that are causing underperformance?" Another said, "Very good. That will motivate them to want to do better. No one wants their friends or classmates to leave them behind." This user asked, "Where will we store them? Because based on my school, about 75% of students would repeat grades." The revelation has also gained the attention of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA. President-elect Mark Malware has concerns.
It's a decision that should be welcomed, really. My only challenge with this is that if we are repeating, what sort of intervention will then be done to get them up to the level that they ought to be? Because if we are not careful, you will have a child repeating various grades more than once.
The ministry has promised that individual learning plans will be developed for these students to ensure proper targeting of learning challenges. But with an average of 25 students per class at the primary level and over 700 public primary schools across the island, questions have been raised about the feasibility of this plan.
There's nothing wrong with individual plans. Differentiated instruction is something that we already do within the education system. The biggest problem in our education system, however, with many of our schools, has to do with lack of resources. So until the ministry gets to the point of treating the issue of funding of our schools so that the adequate resources can be provided to our teachers for them to carry out their tasks, then we're literally just playing this service for the time being.
In any event, the incoming JTA president says this policy only scratches the surface. He believes a more rigorous assessment system is needed.
If a child is not at the level that they ought to be, then they should be diverted for testing. Yeah. The reality is that the current infrastructure, the current landscape in terms of our education system, our ecosystem, does not allow for that sort of robust, timely assessment.
Malware is calling on the Education Ministry to provide further details on how it intends to implement the policy.
I have heard the announcement, but the announcement in and of itself is short on details. What we want to see, and in principle, it is something that ought to be welcome. However, what we want to see is how it is that this is going to be implemented, what are the contingencies that are going to be put in place, and what sort of support will be given to the schools and to the students.
Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
The proposed ban on the public display of cigarettes and other tobacco products could have unintended consequences. A warning from tobacco company Carreras Limited, followed up by hints it could trigger a spike in illicit trade, cost the government billions in revenue, and undermine small businesses. Zol Grant continues our follow-ups.
Carreras Limited is pushing back against a full ban on tobacco product displays under proposed amendments to the Tobacco Control Act 2020. Corporate Affairs Manager Amiga Breeze-McNabb tells CVM News the company views the move as draconian and says it could backfire badly.
We believe that the proposed full ban on tobacco product display, promotions and sponsorship is draconian and will have significant unintended consequences. It will further fuel the illicit trade, driving the loss of government revenue, which now stands at an estimated $4 billion.
On Tuesday, members of a parliamentary joint select committee proposed the measure intent on reducing cigarette visibility to children and discouraging new smokers. However, Carreras is also warning of the negative fallout for more than 8,000 small business owners across Jamaica who rely on lawful tobacco sales to survive. McNabb added that the measure strips adults of their right to make informed choices when it comes to reduced risk products like vapes and modern oral options that help smokers transition from cigarettes.
It is furthermore removing the rights of adults to informed choices, especially for reduced risk products such as vapes and modern oral, that help adults switch from cigarette smoking.
Corporate Affairs Manager says the proposed ban unfairly targets the tobacco industry and would affect Carrera's ability to continue supporting social initiatives.
We will no longer be able to support adult students to access tertiary education through our scholarship program.
Carreras also raised concerns about restrictions on freedom of expression, noting it is a legal company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The company says it supports strong penalties for sales to minors, but is urging the government to consider alternatives that reflect Jamaica's socio-economic conditions. Zogrand reporting for CVM News.
And we'll continue with the news package right after this.
Came in just to look. But then she saw the sign.
50% off everything? No, that's a blessing.
Yes, 50% off the entire store from July 25th to the 27th. From curtains to decor, we have everything to refresh your space. Limited time, limited stock, major savings. Faithful Homes Decor. Mall Plaza Halfway Tree, style your space, save in style.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine the growth of Chocolate Dreams Limited and how it has benefited from various initiatives by the Tourism Enhancement Fund through its Tourism Linkages Network.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. Farmers who've been working on lands for years without security or support are now receiving formalized land access through an initiative facilitated by the Ministry of Agriculture. Kevin Black has more details.
I'm going to work with the SCJH to regularize the lands in this area.
For years, some farmers in St. Thomas have been tilling the soil on land that was not quite theirs. Now, some 250 are set to benefit from the formalization of land access, which will grant them the legal recognition and security they have been asking for. This is being accomplished through the SCJ Holdings Limited's Land Tenure Regularization Initiative. According to Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green, so far over 130 farmers have already been regularized, with more than 600 acres now under farmer lease agreements.
So when I came to St. Thomas at the St. Thomas meeting, one of the main issues that was raised time and time again was the issue of land. Access to land and land tenureship. And was the challenge that the farmers were having regularizing themselves so that they could invest more and do what they love. Not to tell you that it is going to come, but to hand out your leases today so that you, the farmers of Eastern St. Thomas, will have tenureship that you have fought for such a long time.
Minister Green highlighted it was the efforts of several farmers based in St. Thomas that helped to push the initiative forward.
And I said to the farmers, you know, what you need to do is to form a strong group out there. Form an association, so that we're not talking to one farmer here who come in and ask for regularization. We have a body that we can treat with. And I was very happy to see that the farmers took it on They said to me, Minister, we're going to farmer group, specifically our cassava farmers.
Minister Green said that this initiative will help to alleviate some of the prior issues that farmers in the parish have been facing. He emphasized that this initiative will bring structure and opportunity to lands in St. Thomas.
But we have now taken under the board and the leadership of the SCJ management bold and meaningful steps to bring structure, opportunity to lands in St. Thomas. Some of the issues that you have had in relation to financing, some of the issues that you have had in relation to expanding your investment because you don't know if tomorrow somebody going to come and say they want that land and you have to move, we're putting those things to an end.
Minister Green said that the SCJ Holdings Limited's Land Tenure Regularization Initiative is a necessity for the people of St. Thomas in the quest towards strengthening food security. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Conversation around the environmental, social and economic impacts of a proposed new sugar factory in Clarendon took center stage at a town hall meeting in the parish recently. More from Raymond Morrison.
The proposed Tropical Sugar Company Limited factory promises to transform the sugar industry in Clarendon. Director and shareholder Noel McLean says the facility is expected to surpass the production capacity of the country's other two sugar factories.
Our production, we intend initially to produce 50,000 tons of sugar, which is more than what the two existing factories are producing. Our factory will be smaller in size, more compact, but will be producing far more sugar than the other two factories exist.
He emphasized that community integration will be a key pillar of the project.
There are a lot of benefits to gain. We also have cattle people that are out there. We have to ensure that they are okay, we are okay. We don't want our crop, when we plant the cane, for the cane to be damaged. So we have to work with the citizens around. Right? So community integration is a key part in making sure that tropical sugar becomes sustainable.
Environmental concerns were also raised, with McLean noting positive feedback so far from the National Environmental and Planning Agency NEPA. Richard Nelson, NEPA's senior manager in the Environmental Management Subdivision, reminded the public that concerns about the project can be submitted directly to the agency, with detailed information available at its offices and online.
If the project goes forward, we want to ensure that once it becomes operational, the issues that may affect you would have already been addressed at the beginning. So it's important that if you have concerns and comments, it is to be sent to us. Finally, please be reminded that the Environmental Impact Assessment Report and associated documents for the proposed project are available for access by the public at the following locations: the Clarendon Municipal Corporation at 370 Council Street, Maypen, Clarendon; the Clarendon Parish Library, Main Street, Maypen, Clarendon; the Lioneltown Parish Library, Lioneltown, Clarendon.
Meanwhile, Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. said he is optimistic about the project potential to provide jobs and to boost the parish's economy.
I'm praying that this works out for the benefit of every single boy and girl in this parish, because this is the kind of mega project that we need if we are truly to develop Clarendon. And just want to give my own support to make sure that this project is focused on providing not just temporary jobs, but permanent as well as seasonal jobs, and not just low skill, but also high skilled jobs for Jamaicans who live in this area first.
The Tropical Sugar Company project remains under review, but supporters say it represents major opportunity for growth in Clarendon. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
There are renewed calls for the government of Jamaica to introduce electronic voting as an option for elections, with some electors arguing it's a more convenient voting system, which would also encourage higher voter turnout. Amoy Harriet tells us more.
It's almost that time again. The country is mere months or weeks away from the next general election, and many Jamaicans are bracing for the usual wave of political excitement. But along with the buzz, many are also preparing for the all too familiar frustrations. Long lines, endless waits, and paper trails that feel more like paper chases. Concerns that have led to increasing calls for an electronic voting option.
I think it would make the most sense, especially how we're digitizing most other aspects of the country. It would make the most sense going forward to reduce how much it's going to be taken for the count, for the man hours, just in terms of transparency's sake.
Yes, I would support an electronic voting system, given the convenience that it would provide for us voters.
Is it a good idea? Security-wise, maybe not, but it would encourage persons to vote because people are always on the go. No one has time to be going to polling stations, polling divisions.
But there are other factors to consider. According to Sweden's International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, if not carefully planned and designed, e-voting can undermine the confidence in the entire electoral process. Now, e-voting is gaining traction in some sections of the globe. In the Dominican Republic, an electronic voting system was trialed during the February 2020 municipal elections. Paula Whiskey Hernandez is a journalist there.
It didn't work as we expect. The equipment failed during the process of voting. We have to suspend as country the municipal election in that year because of the problems that we were having with the equipment, with the system. We as country lost millions of dollars in this attempt of the election. As well, we have a lot of protests. The people were shocked.
Locally, similar concerns.
Bear in mind, there are some issues that surround that we're going to electronic voting. There's the issue of connectivity, whether or not all the areas in Jamaica will be able to be able to access and be able to connect.
Gaspel Brown is Director of Elections at the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ. Infrastructural concerns aside, he believes an electronic voting system could increase voter turnout, which has been a sore point in recent years. In the 2020 general elections, the country recorded the lowest voter turnout in recent history, with only about 37% of registered voters showing up to polling stations.
Certainly, in my personal view, it will attract most of the younger persons who are more inclined to use these electronic gadgets and etc. to be a part of what they do. Certainly, so it could, and I would imagine, again, my personal view, going some way down the road, I think that's where the country will have to go in terms of greater use of technology in the whole electoral process. So it's on a discussion. We continue to discuss it. We continue to explore how best, how the country could be able to afford it.
The government has remained relatively mum on the topic. In 2020, Marlene Malahoo Ford, who at the time was the outgoing Attorney General, said discussions were needed for more voting options to be made available to electors. Her comments followed the general election that was held in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, our newsroom tried to revisit the conversation with Mrs. Malahoo Ford, who is now the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. She initially showed interest in an interview, but has since stopped returning our calls and messages. Now it's left to be seen whether Jamaicans will in the near future trade strolling to the polls for scrolling to vote. Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
The first registered company on the island continues to represent Jamaica's economic landscape, and in what it is its 200th anniversary of manufacturing excellence. As you'll hear from our reporter Crystal Williams, the company also continues to etch its name in the global spirits industry.
Jamaica's oldest corporation, Jerry and Nephew Limited, rang in their bicentenary anniversary celebrating 2 centuries of continuous operation, innovation, and community involvement.
An iconic brand that has endured 2 centuries, lifted communities, employed generations, and taken the spirit of Jamaica to every corner of the globe.
At the ceremony held in Kingston, Prime Minister Andrew Holness congratulated those who have carried on the vision of John Ray to create a trailblazer in the spirits industry. He says they are not merely celebrating a company, but saluting a Jamaican institution.
Over the decades and centuries, this brand has become inseparable from Jamaica's cultural identity, a symbol of creativity, craftsmanship, resilience, but above all, excellence.
The company continues to celebrate key milestones, such as their collaboration with the Campari Group in 2012, their global market expansion with extensions such as Appleton Estates Rum, and their positive economic and social impact on Jamaica's GDP and export economy. Not to be forgotten is their community development through the JWN Foundation and the influence of their legacy on Jamaican culture. The Prime Minister also praised Dr. Joy Spence as Jamaica's first female master blender. To honor its bicentenary, the company will host a year-long program of celebrations honoring its rich heritage, the people who have built and sustained the company and its brand over generations, and the communities it continues to serve. Crystal Williams, CVM News.
More news in a moment.
Remix the summer with Digicel. 100 lucky winners win $100,000 each, plus surprises all summer. To enter, buy a SIM, 7-day plan or higher, switch to Digicel. Be an active postpaid or Digicel Plus customer, or receive US $15 or more from abroad. Gift a friend a plan. They could win $25,000. Remix the summer with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promo ends September 15, 2025. Conditions apply. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for more info. Digicel, better connected.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi. Brought to you by Grace, Singer, and IslandNet Services.
From politics to global events, from social issues to breaking news, Lead Story Prime dives deeper, cuts through the noise, and uncovers the stories that shape your world. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Lead Story Prime with me, George Davis, for an hour of incisive analysis, expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine the growth of Chocolate Dreams Limited and how it has benefited from various initiatives by the Tourism Enhancement Fund through its Tourism Linkages Network.
Every dream conquered is another dream game. truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
Welcome back now, because we're not only just about news. Ronaldo Adams is here to tell us what's coming up in sports.
Good evening, Curlin, and good evening, viewers. So, Curlin, as you and I are both supporters and fanatics of both sports and entertainment, we often expect our stars to always be stars, despite whatever they may be going through. But recently retired West Indies all-rounder Andre Russell, he's calling on the fans to have a bit more understanding as it relates to backlash and the scrutiny that we often offer. So that is what we'll be taking a bit of a deep dive into for sports this evening. We will also be hearing from Michael Johnson, because if you remember, when the Grand Slam track ended, it ended abruptly. Yeah. So he has finally broken his silence, and we'll be hearing from him. And of course, it's Thursday, so we'll have our on-court feature.
You know that we're not easy when it comes on to
especially Jamaica.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Can't wait to hear what he has to say. I'm sure he has a good and sound advice for us as fans.
We'll see it happen.
We will see it happen. Let's now go to our regional and international news package.
We begin with news in the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of Agriculture Ravi Ratiram explained how agricultural costs have impacted Trinidad and Tobago. Their food imports bill has reportedly reached a sum of about $7.3 billion. More from TTT News.
Well, as we all know, over the years gone by, our food import bill has consistently been rising. Now our food import bill has reached about $7.3 billion, whereas our contribution to agriculture has consistently been declining. And what we have seen over the last 10 years is that the contribution that agriculture makes to our GDP, we would have lost about $200 million. As we roll out our plans, programs, and policies, our mandate is to reduce that food import bill by $2 billion over the next 5 years.
In St. Lucia, over 100 individuals have taken a major step toward employment and self-reliance, graduating from a national training initiative designed to boost resilience through skills development. Here's DBS TV News.
I encourage you, want to motivate you, inspire you to carry on with what you have learned. We cannot do it for you. You have to move on with it. You are part of a wider transformation of St. Lucia.
You would notice that there are more females right now, which represents 99% of those who did the program and 1% for males. Now, what we're trying to see if we could accomplish is to try to do more programs that are geared towards the males.
Thailand launched airstrikes against Cambodian military targets along their long-disputed border, escalating tensions between the Southeast Asian neighbors. Details from the BBC News.
You'll see in these pictures a number of Thai soldiers lying on the floor of a hospital near the border after strikes were heard. Thailand has since responded with airstrikes of its own on military positions along the border. We've seen pictures of people running for safety and refuge following sounds of gunfire and artillery. Reportedly, there are evacuations underway along the border. Thailand is telling all its nationals to leave, while Cambodia has downgraded its ties with Bangkok, which they accuse of using excessive force.
That's it for regional and international news. I'm Kevin Black.
Continuing with the news, lawmen in St. Elizabeth have charged a man in connection with the brutal killing of a woman at a nightclub in the parish in June. Charged with murder is 33-year-old Kenrick Troop, otherwise called Brown Man, a farmer of Coke Drive in Santa Cruz. Now, Troop is accused of fatally stabbing 34-year-old Nikisha Francis Montfort, also known as Chocolate, during an altercation at a nightclub. Reports from the Santa Cruz police are the incident occurred around 4 in the morning when a dispute developed between the two. During the confrontation, Francis Montfort was reportedly stabbed and struck in the head with a stool. Investigators say surveillance footage from the scene captured Troop hitting the woman in the head before stabbing her. A post-mortem later confirmed Francis Montfort died as a result of stab wounds to the torso and blunt force trauma to the head. Troop was taken into custody and was subsequently charged. We are taking another break, but lots more coming from our news and sports desk right after.
She came in just to look, but then she saw the sign.
50% off everything? No, that's a blessing.
Yes, 50% off the entire store from July 25th to the 27th. From curtains to decor, we have everything to refresh your space. Limited time, limited stock, major savings. Faithful Homes Decor, Mall Plaza Halfway Tree, style your space, save in style.
Join us this week on Tourism 101 as we examine the growth of chocolate dreams.